Hey there. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Sonia Space. This is episode 17. And for today's episode, this one really hits home for me. And I know many of you can relate to this topic. One of the reasons why I started Sonia Space in the first place is because I really wanted to shed some light and openly talk about mental health and mental health disorders, especially how it impacts people in the South Asian community, because we don't really get to openly talk about it because it's considered a stigma, a taboo. For generations, it's something that's been set aside and people just don't feel comfortable talking about mental health disorders. I wanted to take the opportunity today to specifically talk about navigating through anxiety and having an anxiety disorder. I know I can definitely relate to this because I personally do have anxiety and an anxiety disorder, and I've been learning to manage my triggers and my anxiety over the last few years. And again, it all comes down to acknowledgement and being aware that you have something that you need to work on. So for today's episode, I really want to dive into what exactly is anxiety and having an anxiety disorder and what causes it and how you can find, effective strategies and tools to help you manage your anxiety and the tools and strategies that I've used in my life that have been effective for me. Funny enough, since we're on the topic of anxiety, I know that most of you have probably considered or have seen Inside Out 2. And my husband and I actually went to go see that movie last week. And I really wanted to see that movie because I know the main topic of that movie is, managing your emotions and managing anxiety. I really liked the way anxiety was represented in the movie, and it really broke everything down for people, especially kids, right? It was a really good representation of how our emotions work, how our memories work, and how we handle our day-to-day lives, and how certain memories and certain triggers can have an impact to us and the people around us. And I don't want to give any spoilers or anything for that movie because I personally hate spoilers. But if you would like to see a really cute movie and, I think the movie is very educational, I would definitely check out Inside Out 2. And it's such a cute movie. Like, I laughed most of the time. It's such a great movie. I would definitely check it out. Experiencing anxiety, right? So what is an anxiety disorder? And it's really when you have this intense worry or stress, or you're constantly worried and having fears about certain things in your life. And it comes to a point where it's just not manageable. Like, you're having physiological reactions to the way that you're feeling, like from your triggers or whatever it may be. And again, I believe that, occasional anxiety, we're all humans. We stress out. We have good moments and bad moments. But when you have excessive anxiety symptoms, that is not good, because if it's in any way being detrimental to your day-to-day life, it is something that really needs to be managed. So the first thing I would say is understand what you're doing when you're feeling anxious, right? You could be avoiding certain people, you could be avoiding certain places. Maybe you're getting triggered a lot by certain things. You're stressed out about a certain situation. I feel like our body has a really good way to let us know, hey, something isn't right. And that doesn't necessarily mean that there's something wrong in the environment. Maybe we have something deep within ourselves that needs to be acknowledged and that needs to be resolved. And that's something I learned from my anxiety disorder is I had to really self-reflect and figure out, why am I being triggered by certain things or certain situations? Is it me? Is it because I have an unresolved issue from my past or my childhood? Or is it really the situations around me that I'm not able to manage appropriately? So I think the first step is acknowledgement. The first step is knowing, hey, like things are getting out of control. I'm not sleeping well. I'm stressing out a lot. I'm having physiological reactions to everything happening around me or a situation. I think I need to seek professional help, or at least understand why something is happening. So, I mean, obviously, the first step would be, in order to do that, you have to seek professional help. And there are different types of anxiety disorders. There's generalized anxiety disorder. There's social anxiety disorders, the social phobia, like people who have a hard time being around other people or in a social setting. You can have a specific type of phobia to something. You could have a separation anxiety disorder. So there's different types of anxiety disorders, and you can have it all. But I think the best thing to do is to get that proper diagnosis and see if it is actually a disorder that you have, or if it's just, just because someone has anxiety, I don't think it's something that they have for the rest of their lives. It could just be in that moment that they've been diagnosed with an anxiety disorder because of their situation or what they're going through. I remember there's definitely treatment to this. There's a way that you can manage your anxiety. I think it really starts off with truly understanding yourself and understanding your body and understanding what it needs and how you can nourish it. Because I feel like our body and our brains like work together, right? If you're good physically, if you're helping your body physically, it could help you mentally as well, and vice versa. So I think you really have to understand your body as a whole and then really, pinpoint exactly what's causing you to have anxiety. So I want to list out certain symptoms, common symptoms of anxiety. There's that excessive worrying about something, but like all the time for no reason. Sometimes you're like in your head and you're overthinking. There's also, like I said, physical symptoms, right? So like your heart rate's up, you have palpitations, you're sweating, you're shaking. You could potentially be having some type of anxiety attack as well. You can have like gastrointestinal issues, there's headaches. Also, I feel like isolation and avoiding certain places, certain things, which is impacting your daily life, could also be a symptom of anxiety. Restlessness, unable to relax, unable to sleep, sometimes having trouble concentrating because you're focused on other things in your life or something that's triggering you. Sleep, which I feel like for me is a number one indicator, is when I don't sleep well, or if I'm having trouble like falling asleep, or I wake up in the middle of the night and like something is stressing me out, like you just know that your mind is constantly running and it's just not taking a break, right? It's like really overworking for you, and it kind of comes into or seeps into your sleep. So that's another symptom of an anxiety disorder. So if you see these symptoms coming up on a regular basis, I think at that point you need to understand that you may be struggling with anxiety. It's interfering with your day-to-day life. And I believe you can start off with maybe reaching out to your doctor or a mental health provider and get the right support and guidance that you need. Being able to manage your anxiety and figure out the combination of strategies and tools that would work for you can vary from person to person, because again, like everyone has different triggers. It just depends on like your lifestyle and where, you may be slacking at something or something that you're not taking care of. And you want to make sure that you find the strategies and tools that work for you. And again, you have to be patient and show compassion to yourself, because I think it's a great thing to first acknowledge that it's happening to you. And it's so hard to not be hard on yourself. I know I do this a lot. I can be a perfectionist sometimes. I want things to be a certain way. And I know that's not necessarily good for me. So you have to show yourself compassion and love, and you have to be a little like logical about it and understand that, hey, it takes time. These things take time. So being able to manage your anxiety to where it's manageable and you're able to navigate through your anxiety is the ultimate goal. And it takes time, it takes consistent effort. But as long as you're putting in some work and throughout that process, you really do understand your triggers and you understand what your body needs and the way you can nourish your mind and your body. So the first thing I've mentioned is being aware that you may have an anxiety disorder and you seek professional support, be it your healthcare professional or a psychiatrist or a counselor, whatever you're doing to where you're trying to better understand where your anxiety is coming from. And either you need counseling, either you need some type of, prescription medications that have been very effective, or you need both. You need to figure out what will work for you. So the number one thing I would say is definitely start off with understanding your disorder so that way you know how to navigate through it and understanding what your triggers are. The second thing that I think is really good for anybody that has anxiety. So when you're having anxiety, especially if you're having symptoms of like, fast heart rate, or you're sweating or you're trembling or you're shaking, whatever it may be, breathing deeply and having proper relaxation techniques is really effective because you're sending oxygen to your brain and you're calming your body, and you are kind of taking over the physiological aspect of your body. So you're basically taking over and you're telling your body and mind to calm down just through these exercises. So that could also really help manage your anxiety. And I know that definitely works for me. Like in the moment, if I'm freaking out about something, if I'm not feeling well, then you can use these techniques to help you to be able to manage your anxiety. I truly believe that what and how you take care of your body and what you put in your body really helps your mental health in general. So if you're not exercising and you're eating foods that are not necessarily healthy, how are you going to feel good? Your body is automatically overworking. It's not feeling nourished. It's not getting the nutrients that it needs. You're not able to exercise your heart, your muscles that help you relax your body. Like I feel like every person, if they can, right? I'm sure some people are unable to for some reason, but if you have the ability to eat better and exercise, that would help you so much in managing your anxiety, because I feel like our bodies are made, it's a well-oiled machine. Like I feel like we just need to know how to use that machine. Like, cause every time I've noticed that I'll feel like crap, but if I'm consistently exercising or I just go like exercise, I immediately feel well because like these endorphins are being released to help me feel good and relax my body and relax my muscles. So I feel like definitely being able to exercise regularly if you can, and it's a good distraction, is really good for your anxiety and is good for your physical health and mental health. And also like practicing having a healthy diet, like eating balanced meals and, trying not to avoid meals because it does have an impact to your blood sugar levels. And that could, you can get like a sugar rush or you can get a sugar crash from that. It can trigger anxiety symptoms. So you just have to be mindful of where you're eating, and you're eating whole foods and nutrient dense foods. And I know it's not necessarily easy. Like I love my cheeseburgers, my pizza, my chips, my sweets. I get it. It's not easy, especially when you're stressed out. I'm a stress eater. I learned this about myself like over the last year. So when I'm stressed, man, I eat. Like I will eat a lot. And I learned it's a coping mechanism. And obviously, if I'm eating unhealthy foods, I'm just going to eat more. So I have, found out that if I'm eating whole foods and nutrient dense foods, but then I'm also eating things that I like moderately, like with moderate consumption, then that's great for me. And it does help my anxiety overall and being able to exercise or just like walk and being out in the sun. Like that morning sun hits you differently, right? Like just being out in the sun and taking a walk in nature, it just distracts you and helps you feel good because the outside air, it helps you breathe better too. So just being able to exercise and being active and making sure you're eating the right things for the most part has a huge impact to your anxiety levels. Another thing that I would like to add is staying grounded in some way is really good. So practicing some type of meditation or mindfulness or praying, I think it's really, really great for your anxiety if you're doing it with the right intention and you're doing it in a way to where it provides you peace. And I think one of the great things about meditation and praying is it really helps you be in the moment. So typically when you're anxious, you're worried about the past or the future, right? You're worried about what's going to happen or you're worried about what had already happened. But when you're practicing mindfulness and meditation, and if you're doing it right and you have to be consistent about it, you're being in the present because only the present matters because at every point it was once a present moment. So you want to get into the habit of being in the present and not worrying about future events or things that have already taken place. You want to really embrace the present moment and be in the present and do what you can in the present. And I really believe that meditation, praying, and mindfulness is those are great strategies for managing your anxiety. The last thing I would say is once you kind of figure out your triggers or understand like something that you're maybe being exposed to or someone, if you limit yourself to those things that you're exposing yourself to and you know that they're triggering you, then just limit your exposure to those things. And one of the examples is social media. I talked about it on my episode with me having a social media addiction. I feel like sometimes it would really take a toll on me with the content that I was being exposed to. Social media in itself is a tool and you can use it it could have a negative impact on you or a positive impact. So you have to make sure that you're limiting the exposure of negative content that is triggering your anxiety. So that's just an example. Like it could be from social media, it could be from watching TV, it could be from watching certain shows, it could be from talking to certain people. Just limit yourself or avoid situations which might be triggering your anxiety, just to have a better understanding of maybe why those things are causing it. But at least for the time being, I think it's really good. It's a really good strategy in order to manage your anxiety. So these are some of the strategies that you can use to help manage your anxiety. And if you or someone you know is struggling with anxiety, the best thing you can do is find the support that they need to help them navigate through their anxiety. And the best way you can do that is through medical and professional help. And because there's so many different types of therapies that are out there that can help you, that's like catered to you based off of your triggers or what is causing your anxiety. And you may need an addition of medication to that. So I think it's great to please start off with seeking some type of professional support and guidance and take it from there. I would like to move into our next segment, which is a new thing or a new experience that I've had. And since we're already on the topic of anxiety and having an anxiety disorder, I would like to say that last year, all of 2023 has been a pretty stressful year for me personally. There were a lot of things happening in my family at the time. My mom got really sick, my grandmother got really sick. So it really took an emotional and physical toll on me. So my anxiety was at an all-time high at that time. So I, again, had to find tools that would help me manage my anxiety. And I've looked into certain applications, some apps that I could use to help manage my anxiety. And there are a couple of them that I have used. One is Calm, and Calm is really good for sleeping and meditation and relaxation. I believe there's like guided meditations that can help you sleep. I only used it a few times, but another one I really like is Headspace, and I haven't used it in a while, but it's really great for when I do want to use it. It's just called Headspace, and they have different tools on there for mental health disorders. So they have guided meditations on there. There's like this section for sleeping. So I believe there's like ways to help you sleep through storytelling, through white noise. So that's also really great. And then there's also a section for, stretching and relaxing. And stretching has always helped me. Like every time I stretch, even if it's for 5 minutes, it is so effective for my body. So there's different ways where you can help alleviate your anxiety and stress. And the other great thing about this, so this is subscription based. You do get a 2-week trial. But there's also like support groups. There's also ways that you can talk to a mental health professional on this app, and they have certain articles. I think this is a really great app, and then it kind of caters to you and kind of builds a schedule for you. Like for the morning, for the afternoon, for night. I think this is a great tool for people that have anxiety or other mental health disorders. Definitely check it out. And please let me know if you contact me on Instagram. Please let me know if this is something that you've tried or would love to try and how it went for you. So definitely check out the app Headspace. Thank you so much for listening in today. I am so grateful for all the support and feedback I've been getting. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to Sonia Space, and follow me on Instagram for sneak peeks on upcoming episodes as well as other inspirational content. I hope your day goes well and I've left you feeling inspired. Bye-bye.